I just got back from Planet Expo Vancouver, and here are some of my initial takeaways. There are 5 things that stood out for me. Number 1, samples are great, but take-home samples are even better. So as people shuffle in with their little tote bags and go from booth to booth, getting their free samples, I think most people, if they're like me, aren't even really paying attention to what they're eating. They're just there for the free food. So as a CPG brand owner or a vendor that has a booth, you have to ask yourself, what is the goal for me to be at this expo? If you ask me, the goal is to get more customers, and more specifically, more loyal customers. While liquid to lips or samples to mouths is great, it doesn't really do anything for you if 10 seconds after they leave your booth, they have no idea who you are. Now, I suspect that most brands at this stage that are, vendors at this expo don't have that much widespread distribution. That means it's going to be very difficult for people to actually find your product. So this is why I say the take-home sample is even better. You get the logo, the name, the product in the home of the consumer. This way, when they try it, they say, ooh, this is pretty good. Let me look at the packaging. Let me read the ingredients. Let me study the logo. And you have higher brand recall and a better chance that they're going to become a repeat customer. Number 2 is have the right staff working the booths. I can't tell you how many times I walked up to the booth and I was the only person there, and they weren't very chatty, weren't very friendly, didn't smile, didn't make eye contact, didn't ask me, how the sample was, if there's any feedback, didn't tell me about any promotions or where to get the product. So if you're going to have a booth, make sure the people that work in the front line are very charismatic, very friendly, very sociable, very outgoing. It can go a long way to build that community and to build that relationship with the consumer. Number 3, like anything, this is a very, very competitive space, and consumers are judgy. They're judging everything from your booth presentation, your posters, your sample size, your logo, your ingredients, your attire, your staff. Everything is being judged. That's why you want to make sure everything's executed at a high level. And I get it. These booths are expensive. They cost money. Samples cost money. Graphic designers and brand specialists cost money. Hiring staff to work the booths costs money. And maybe all you can afford is your niece designing the logo, or you throw up some poster. And inventory costs so much these days, you want to skimp on the sample sizes. But I think this is short-sighted. Going back to the goal of you being there, it's not to make a profit, it's to win customers, or ideally build a long-term relationship with that consumer, creating that brand loyalty and bringing them into your community. So this is why I recommend give more samples, do your very best with what you have. Having a booth at the Planet Expo is an investment. It's going to cost more money than it is likely to bring in. This is a very long-term play. So if you can't afford to be there, maybe it's best to hold off until a future date when you have a bigger budget. Number 3 is have an incentive to purchase. This is kind of going back to my takeaway example. You really want customers to remember your brand, not just sample it. And so while I'm standing in front of your booth, give me a deal that I cannot possibly refuse. I didn't see a lot of posted prices. Maybe there's some sort of restriction against that, I'm not sure of. What I know about consumers is they love deals, and I didn't really see a lot of deals, and I get it. It's expensive to run a CPG brand. Profits and margins are very, very slim. But if it was me, I wouldn't really care so much about making a profit at one of these events. My goal is not to be profitable. My goal is to get more customers. So I would have looked at it as a loss leader in the sense that we're trying to make a product so easy and so affordable for you to buy, for you to take home, for you to fall in love with, and potentially, be a brand advocate, tell your friends, be a repeat customer. So what I would have liked to see more of is more pricing tier system that unlock different value the more I spend. So maybe it's, 1 for 5, 3 for 10, that sort of thing. Number 4 is that coupons are a very cost-effective way to get samples to people. It costs you next to nothing to print a stack of coupons, and this way it's a takeaway. They get your name, the logo. You've given them an incentive to come to your website, potentially make a purchase, capture their information, and now you can start building a relationship with them. In the CPG world, a lot of the margin gets eaten up with distribution and the cost of getting on shelves. So the best way to grow a new startup CPG brand is through DTC and Amazon. You own that customer journey, you own that data, the margins are much better, you get the opportunity to increase their average order value or have them subscribe so they become monthly recurring revenue. And number 5, which touches on a lot of these other points, is have an incentive to collect emails. I just talked about the value of having a direct relationship with the consumer. If you're one of these vendors at the Planet Expo, I assume you don't have that much distribution, your product is really hard to find, so have some way to connect with the customer and bring them into your community, either through a contest or some incentive to collect their email in exchange for a discount. This is going to be the most cost-effective way you can grow and scale your business.